Rhode Island Senator Jack Reed is the top Democrat on the Senate Armed Services Committee.
Yeah, he's involved in all national security issues.
And anchors John DeLuca and Alexandra Cowley are live in Newport with Senator Reed tonight.
Thank you so much, guys. Yes, we are joined by Senator Reed. Thank you, Senator, for joining us here on Bowen's Wharf. Always a pleasure. And we love to talk to you about rainbows and sugar plums, but unfortunately, we need to get your reaction to, unfortunately, another mass shooting in public. Last night in Louisiana, the week before that in Chattanooga, several weeks before that in Charleston. When events like that happen, your colleagues in the Senate, if you could give us a sense, what is the feeling? Is it the conversation of we need to do something with gun control, maybe people who shouldn't have guns, mental health issues? Take us through that if you could.
Well, first there's a natural reaction of the shock and the dismay on all sides, and also understanding that families are suffering because they've lost loved ones, and also in many cases appreciating the courage of a lot of people who stood up and tried to prevent some of these things from happening. And then the focus is on two issues, I think. One is, many, not all these issues deal with mental health problems, and we have to do much more in having both proactive mental health services for all of our citizens for many reasons. And then it also brings up the issues of more sensible gun control measures.
Do you think there's any more traction, though, Senator, because of events like this? This is 3 in a row in a short period of time.
It is very frustrating. I mean, after the terrible tragedy in Connecticut with the school children, I thought we would have and indeed we had bipartisan legislation, we just couldn't move it. But I think this underscores the need to carefully look back, and particularly with respect to background checks, make sure they're thorough, they're effective. They don't prevent an individual from legally obtaining a firearm, but they do prevent people with criminal records or mental health problems from getting access to a weapon. So those two issues, further mental health support for the whole population, not just about these incidents, but in general, and then looking more carefully at our gun regulations.
And going off of that, Senator, what are your thoughts for Rhode Island with our National Guard? I know there's a big issue, there's a big push right now for the recruiting centers being armed. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, first, I think we have tremendous professional leadership. General Callahan has just taken over. He is a combat veteran. His first obligation and his first thought is the protection of the people who are in the National Guard. And I would defer to his recommendation. I think we have to listen to the commanders to see what they think is the best to protect their forces, and then follow through with their recommendations.
And, Senator, in terms of the Iran nuclear deal, I know the Senate Foreign Relations Committee yesterday gave it to Secretary Kerry pretty hard yesterday. Where do you stand on it as it is right now?
Well, I think it's an issue that we have to look very carefully at. A lot of the questioning raised issues that have to be addressed. I think we also have to consider the alternatives, and at this point,
if it doesn't pass,
there's some very serious consequences. It's not something where you can just, well, we'll try again. We've come a long way. About 2 or 3 or certainly 5 years ago, if you thought you could have an international coalition coming together and getting some concessions from the Iranians, I don't think you think that positively. The question is, do we have the inspections that are thorough, interrelated, comprehensive, so that we can assure ourselves for this 10-year period, then following 15-year period, and then in terms of their uranium supplies for 25 years, that we can find out if they are trying to deviate. And in fact, I think we have to approach this with the notion that
they will.
If they have a way, they will try to do it. So we have to be very, very, and that's what we're doing right now, trying to verify this whole procedural approach.
I wish we had more time to chat, Senator.
Thanks,
it's always
John.
a pleasure. Good talking to you.
Thank you, Senator.
Rhode Island Senior Senator Jack Reed. Guys, back to you.
Guys, I'll tell you what, we have got some storms in the Providence area, Allie, but down here in Newport, the conditions are pretty nice. I have a feeling that it's not raining, actually raindrops. It might be raining John DeLuca's here before we know it.
John is? You know, they say kids climb the anchor all the time.
I threatened to climb something last week at Deep House Ball Square. Allie frowned upon me going in the fountain. I have the anchor. Bart Dunbar said I could do it.
Yes.
Here. It's a nice view.
Yeah, they say kids do it, but adults can do it too, right? There's a lot happening here in Newport, guys. We have a lot more coming up at 6 o'clock. Who knows what you're going to see John doing the next time we come back, so make sure you stay with us. We'll be right back.
Mr. and Mrs. DeLuca must have their hands full with that one. John and Allie aren't here today. Instead, they're down in Newport this evening.
And right now, they're live with Rhode Island's junior Senator Sheldon Whitehouse. Hey, guys.
Thank you, guys. Yes, about a half hour or so ago, we spoke with Rhode Island Senior Senator Jack Reed. We're joined now by Senator Whitehouse. Senator, pleasure to see you. Thank you for stopping by.
Let the big guy come first, and I just have to come in and
We
clean
always
up,
have to let the big guy go first. You know how it is, protocol. Senator, I know something you've been pushing very hard for is the transportation funding for the rail and the highway system. Where does that stand in the Senate right now, and what does it mean
really
for Rhode
happy.
Island?
We, this morning, voted to proceed to the bill, and we're going back on Sunday to break cloture.
Who's going back on Sunday? Senators are going back on Sunday.
We're going back on Sunday to vote Sunday to vote on cloture on the bill itself, and then a couple of proposed amendments that need to be knocked aside, and then we need to burn some more time, and then we can pass the bill.
But the House wants 6 months, and you guys are 3 years, though. How are you going to bridge that gap?
I think everybody in their right mind wants 6 months. The House just didn't know how to get there. We figured out how to get there. I think the House is highly likely to follow. When you've got virtually the entire labor movement and the Chamber of Commerce and the National Association of Manufacturers all on board saying, yeah, we just figured out how to do it.
All right.
Well, Senator, I don't think it's any surprise to anyone who lives in Rhode Island that our highways and roads may be among the worst. So how important is it passing this?
It's really important. Rhode Islanders spend maybe $650 a year fixing damage to their cars.
It's true. I had a
bad
rim
roads,
go
bumps,
after the winter. You're right.
Yeah, so there you go. So it really is actually going to be a savings in people's pockets if we put the money into the roads with this new director and this new energetic governor and a 6-year bill where they can look forward to funding across that entire period. That hasn't happened in over a decade. They're really going to be able to make some big plans and get some stuff done.
What are your thoughts on Rhode Island now, Senator, as you come back and forth? We have a new governor you just mentioned. How do you see things going for the state right now economically and the changes that are being made as we stand here in July?
We're lagging behind some of our other states economically, but considering how bad things were back in the depths of the Great Recession, it's really nice. I mean, look, here we are in Newport. It's summertime. People are coming. They're spending money. Unemployment is way down, and things are, looking up. I think all Rhode Islanders feel a little bit better in the summertime.
Yes.
But
a lot to love in the summertime.
Now not only is there summertime, but there's also a resurgence in the economy that's starting to feel a lot better.
And we had the ocean races here in Newport, which were huge.
Wasn't that wonderful? Yeah, these Volvo races were terrific, and they loved coming here because they loved how Rhode Islanders loved them.
Right.
Yes.
The CEO, wherever he goes around the world, goes to a shopping market and asks the cashier, so anything interesting happening in town? And it's a test to see if they know that the Volvo races are in town.
Idea.
Right.
He's waiting in line at the market here in Newport, and the cashier calls out to him down the line, "Hey, I know you. You're here with the Volvo race. You're terrific." And he said, at that point, we're sold.
Senator,
it looks like they're coming back.
Very quickly, I know you have a great sense of humor. I wanted to get you one little would you rather.
Yeah.
Would you rather announce publicly that global warming is not man-made, it's a natural occurrence, or support Donald Trump for president, actively support him for president? And have you got in touch with Lindsey Graham yet?
That's a tough choice. That's a very tough choice. I could always correct myself
on the global warming
climate change,
I got you.
because the facts are clear. I'm afraid I can't let reality TV invade our politics.
Have you got in touch with Lindsey Graham yet on his cell phone?
I teased him about that. I said, "Lindsey, I've been trying to call you all day and haven't been able to get through. I have his new number, but I'm not telling you what it is."
Yeah, don't tell us. Senator Whitehouse, pleasure. Nice
Good
talking
being with
to
you, John.
All right.
Alex, thank you. Good to be
Matt,
with you.
back to you.
Well, as you may have noticed, when John and Allie hit the road every week, people are there. And this week they're in Newport, taking in all that the city by the sea has to offer.
And one sight you can't miss coming into town on the Pell Bridge is the Naval War College, which just got a new president last year. He's the first Navy SEAL to ever hold that position in the college's long history. And he's live with John and Allie right now down at Bowen's Wharf.
Hey guys, Liz, that's right. We do have the first Navy SEAL to be president of the Naval War College, Admiral Howe. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for the opportunity to
Admiral,
spend a little time with
pleasure,
you all.
yes.
Navy SEAL, that's a big deal. Can you give us just like a little history of what kind of training that is, and then going into this position that you're in now?
Yeah, sure. The SEAL is an acronym for the environments in which the Naval Special Warfare Forces operate: sea, air, and land. So that's where it comes from. And so the focus is really on ensuring that the candidates that are in SEAL training possess the physical skills, but also the mental skills to operate across those three domains.
You've been in your position for a year now. Yeah. What has it been like?
It's been a an amazing, amazing job. The institution, the War College, is a really, really special place. I learned more about it as I was getting ready to come here. I didn't have the chance to go to here as a student. It's been here for 131 years now, and it has moved from a relatively small school that was stood up to help the Navy at the end of the Industrial Revolution kind of move from being technocrats into really educated officers. And it has matured now into a full up round graduate level education and research institution working for the Navy.
Well, Rhode Islanders and people travel across the bridge, see the great spot, they see the War College there, but they may not know exactly what goes on.
Yeah.
It sounds, Naval War College. Well, give us a sense, if you could, what's happening to the candidates who are there?
Yeah, so the Chief of Naval Operations, he's given us 4 primary missions. First, we're to develop and educate officers, help he and his staff think about the future of the Navy, support combat readiness, and then help strengthen global maritime partnerships. But the core of all of that is our academic program. And so we've got generally about 600 students in residence there at the college, and they're going through a 1-year graduate level education. So they're getting a master's degree out of it, a joint professional military education degree out of it. And that really is the core that drives the activities across the campus.
Well, we appreciate you stopping by today, Admiral. Thank you so much for joining us today on the road with Channel 6. Really, really a pleasure talking to you, and good luck to you as well.
Thanks,
Guys, back to you.
Well, time now to check back in with John and Allie down in Newport.
And right now they're live with the owner of a unique car museum that just opened last year. Hey, guys.
And we're at Bowen's Wharf right by the Big Anchor, and hustle and bustle on a Friday night, cloudy Friday night, but you know what? No one cares. It's Newport in July. We're joined now by David DeMuzio from Audrain Automobile Museum. David, thank you so much for joining us. An automobile museum in Newport? When did this start? Tell us all about it.
Absolutely. We opened middle of October. We've opened about 9 months now. A couple local guys who have big car collections thought this would be a great idea to share their collection with the public. So we started a nonprofit. We're in business actually having our 3rd exhibition, which shows rotate every 3 or 4 months. We show 15 to 20 cars at a time.
What kind of cars are we talking about, David?
We started out with pre-war cars.
Pre-war?
Everything from 1899 right up to about 1935. Our second show is supercars, so lots of Ferraris and Lamborghinis and Bugattis. That show closed just a little while ago, and now we're doing customs and hot rods for the summer.
Nice.
John's drooling a little bit.
Which one did you bring over for the interview that we're going to do after? We can just take a little test ride just to make the interview complete. We need to take a ride, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, So what's going on this summer? The hot rods and the shows and the antique shows going on.
Antique Show, we're a sponsor of the Antique Show. It's a way for it to get the word out that we're in town, being new. So yes, we have a few cars at the Antique Show, 2 little cute cars, both 1959, a little Nash Metropolitan and a Fiat Jolly, which is a little wickered car that you'd put on the back of a boat back in the day.
That's cool.
Are any of them for sale, and which one would you recommend my husband buying me?
None of the cars are for sale. We're buying and collecting, not selling.
No, they're collecting. It's the museum aspect of it. Yes.
Geez, I have so many favorite cars to recommend. It depends on the vintage. Being in my mid-50s, I love muscle cars.
I can agree with that. Awesome.
I could fix you up with 1969 GTO or something like that. Be good.
I'd take it.
All right, we'll take it. David, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate your time so much.